So I want to talk a little bit today about the mental game in powerlifting and how it's played a role in my own career in the past few meets that I've done, and some advice that I think a lot of people have asked me about, and a lot of people that I've seen at competitions or even in the gym I think could use. Um, so first of all, I'll talk a little bit about my experience with mental weakness at powerlifting meets. So the first couple meets I did back in 2012. I really didn't have any expectations. I'd never really been exposed to serious powerlifting before, competitive powerlifting. And so I went in, no expectations. And so clearly, you know, when you go in with no expectations, it's easy to outperform what you really think you're going to be able to do. So I had some success there. I placed fifth at USAPL Raw Nationals in 2012, and after that, I started to aim higher, which is a good thing, right? You want to have goals, but in aiming higher, I think that I put a lot of pressure on myself, and so after Raw Nationals, my next big meet was the Arnold, the USAPL Pro Raw Challenge in 2013. And that was a really bad meet for me. It was actually the worst meet that I've ever had. Going into it, my training was good. I had some personal stuff going on at the time that made it hard to focus. But um, one of the things that I had been working on in my training was trying to get out of the mindset that I needed to be amped up when I lift, because that can be very draining, very hard in recovery to get psyched up for every lift, every session that you do. And I was pretty successful at that, in being able to lift calmly and still hit good weights. But what I found was when it came time um, to go on the platform, I wasn't prepared for that at all, because I had done all of my training under a very calm, controlled environment. And once the lights are on and you're about to step on stage and everybody's watching you, I just panicked. I had butterflies in my stomach. I felt like my heart was beating in my throat. My palms were sweaty. Knees weak, arms heavy. No. But I went out there and I had set a pretty conservative squat. I something like 474, I think. When the goal there was over 550, and I missed it bad, like real bad. Like unracked the weight, basically went straight down, just no power out of the hole. And I hadn't had a hard weight cut, nothing. I had no excuses. I was too nervous. And then I missed my second too. And I felt like on that time the spotters had kind of jumped in a little bit early, but I missed the weight, and so here I am panicking, about to take my third squat at my first international competition, um, to just not bomb out. And so somehow I was able to get psyched up enough to make that squat, just because I didn't want to bomb out so badly. But it really was a terrible meet, because missing your first two lifts, you set a bad tone for the whole day, and I just wasn't able to recover from that. And it was such a bad experience that I didn't compete for the next year and a half. I didn't want to. It wasn't fun. It sucked, and so I just didn't compete for a year and a half. I still trained hard, got a lot stronger. Um, and then when I came back in 2015, fall of 2015, I felt like I'd gotten a lot stronger. I was prepared physically. I felt like I'd gotten over a lot of those mental hurdles, but I still found when it was time to go on the platform, when it felt like everything was on the line, I still really struggled with that. Not nearly as much as I had at the Arnold, but I still struggled with that, and I think I underperformed because of it. And that came to be kind of a recurring theme of my big meets, especially at Boss Bosses 3. Um, you know, and especially on the first squat, I felt really, really nervous, and it made it very hard for me to think about my technique. It made it very hard to get amped up, and basically, it set a bad tone for the entire day. Now, at Boss Bosses 3, it worked out, and at a couple of the local meets that I did, it wasn't an issue. It was really when I felt like I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to perform at a level that I didn't believe that I was really at yet. Um, that wasn't the case. I finished second at Raw Nationals in 2015, and I won Boss of Bosses, but I felt like I wasn't really at that level yet. And so um, after Boss of Bosses 3, I really started to focus on my mental game. And the biggest change that I made, you can read about all my changes in my article on Elite FTS, but the biggest change I made was practicing regular meditation and really focusing on being mindful, not only during my meditation time, but also in the gym, whenever I was doing a heavy set. Um, and when I say mindful, I don't mean necessarily calm. I get pretty amped up when I lift heavy. I have to. I can't, some guys, really strong guys, Mike T, Preston Turner, these guys seem very, very calm even when they're attempting huge weights. I can't do that. I got to get amped up. But that's okay. Like the combination of being able to get amped up and stay in the moment, stay focused, was what really enabled me to both train harder, train more frequently because I wasn't getting as emotionally worn out from getting amped up, and then also perform better at meets. Now, I started this in fall of last year, fall of 2016, and I did another meet in October, and that wasn't enough practice. I didn't have enough time then, and I was much more calm than I had been in the past. Especially for squats on point. But then deadlifts came around, and I was attempting 800 for Ed Cohen's record, and I panicked again. Just my warm ups were fire; they were just flying. 660. My last warm up, it felt like 225. It felt like there was nothing on the bar. And then when I got out there, and I knew I was attempting the record, I just panicked. But I kept practicing. I kept at it. And then when I came back for the U.S. Open in 2017, the whole day, entire day from start to finish, I was just in the moment. I was calm. I was focused. Um, even when there were difficult things going on, like I had injured my pec, I was really worried that, hey, maybe I'm going to restrain it. Maybe I'm not going to be able to finish the meet. Through all of that, I was able to stay calm and still get amped up when I needed to. And I think that has made a enormous impact on my training. And so I really encourage anyone who's struggling, even if it's your first meet, you've never even done a meet, and you're really nervous about getting on the platform for the first time, focusing on your mental game is something that I recommend to help you get over kind of any type of fear, performance anxiety, whatever you want to call it. I think that the strategies that I discussed in the article that I mentioned earlier, and that's going to be linked to this video, can really help to take you to the next level. So I hope you enjoy the article. I hope you find it helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, and let me know if you have any suggestions for things that maybe I haven't mentioned, maybe I haven't tried, that myself or other people could use to improve their own mental and physical performance.